All right, I'm going to show you how to make a KBR pellet for use in the transmission FTIR. So make sure you have dried potassium bromide. That's what I have in this weighing bottle. We're going to use a mortar and pestle, and we're going to make our pellet in this type of pellet press. So what I'm going to do is put one of these bolts into the pellet press, about that far. It's not super important, just don't bottom it out. So then I'm going to take some KBR. I don't need a lot, but I'm going to put that in the mortar and pestle. Okay, and I'm going to keep this KBR in the desiccator. I'll put that in there later. And then I'm going to take my solid sample. Let's use ascorbic acid. And I'm going to put a small amount of this into the pestle. Now, the amount should be less than 2% of the volume or the mass of the KBR. Okay, it's just kind of by eye. So that's going to be pretty hard to do by eye, but just going to take a tiny amount and put it in there. You can always add more if the sample doesn't seem right, but it's certainly harder to take it out. You'd have to start completely over in that case. Or I guess you could just add KBR. Seems right. Okay, so now I'm going to grind the sample and the KBR together for several minutes. Okay, I've been grinding the sample for several minutes. And now it's time to transfer this to our pellet press. So I'm going to use the scapula and put it in the bottom here. Now this is something that will likely take practice. You don't need too much. You want the pellet to be almost transparent, but you also want it to hold inside the pellet press. So it's kind of takes a little practice figuring out exactly. Okay. So then we're going to place the pellet press in here, and we're going to tighten down. Okay, don't go so tight that you can't take these bolts out, so stop there. And then I'm going to release. And I'm going to take one of the bolts out and see how it looks. Oh no, came loose. Okay, so it's cracking. Okay, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Probably not, but it has cracked. So I'm going to add a little bit more KBR and try pressing one more time. Just adding a tiny amount of KBR. I don't want to add too much, like I said. So, but I think part of the reason why it may be cracking is I didn't add enough KBR and sample. Okay, so let's tighten down. Can try tightening a little bit more. All right, now we can open it back up. Oops. Let's see where we are. Okay, this doesn't look terrible. Okay, so you should be able to see through the dye. You can see that the middle of it is a little bit solid we should at least try running this and see how it works. Okay, so if you end up with a percent transmittance that is very low, that is meaning that the sample is too thick, you could break this out of here, right back into the mortar, just like that. Just pops right out. And then grind again and try adding some more. Or adding less this next time, or whatever you need to do. So you can, if you need to add more, it's easy. You can just put the bolts back in, add a little bit more powder, and press again. But that's about it. And then when you're done with this, give it a rinse with distilled water and try to dry it off a little bit so we keep it nice.